If you like then should name then should Forgive me, I'm a little bit sick still. So, this is my new YouTube thing where I talk about books. Some of you who may know me in real life know that I like to read. Even though I don't show up reading in public a lot, know that I am reading. If I'm on my phone for too long without tapping too much, I'm probably reading on my phone. And that's valid. Why? Because I've always been an e-reader. I have e-books, not real books. This setup, I don't own this. I own this set of books in Hungary, of course, because the blah, blah. For the past 2 years, since I moved to Hungary to study, I haven't been able to read all that much. Because I had essays and I had assignments and I had required readings that were demotivating me to read real books. And, you know, it was a tough time. But now we're in third year and I have time to do what I want. Kind of. I should also be taking care of all this stuff, but don't worry about that. I know better time management skills by now. So, of course, here in Hungary, I don't have my entire collection of books like I do back home. I don't think I have a picture of that to show you, but believe me, I had a bookshelf from top to bottom filled with books. It was a shared collection, me and my sister. She did most of the buying, I just did the reading. But we shared a very good collection of books. Fictional, fantastical, young adult books. Alas, I could not bring them with me half across the world. So, for the time being, I only own these 3 books that you see up top, of which I only read 1 because the other 2 were a gift from my sister that she kind of just left it behind for me because she didn't have space in her own suitcase, and I, as the ever-loving hoarder, said yes, I should get back to them. I'm probably gonna make a blog about them. I could. I needed to read them anyways. So, today I am here to talk to you about just 2 books. I tried before doing more than 2 books, and that took too many takes. Today I'm going to talk to you about only 2 of my favorite reads from this entire summer. Well, technically it's 5, but I'm going to sum it up as 2 because one of them is a series of books and the other is the starting book of a future trilogy that currently is just 1 book, of course. But I need to talk about these books. I need to talk about them like I need water and air. First things first, I want to talk to you about the All for the Game saga. Trilogy, series, I don't know what the proper termination for this is. All for the Game changed my life. well, changed my year. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. It changed my year. I was in a somewhat of a reading slump. I was barely able to read a book a month, and I was like kind of struggling to find something that would really wake me up and like make me read again. And this book did it. Well, these books did it. My sister recommended it to me. We share a lot of books. She recommended it to me. She said, it's amazing, you're gonna love it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a go. I trust you. And the first book, however, was really hard to get through. It was this is a series of books self-published by the author Nora Kavik. And sometimes she has this writing style kind of amateurish in the sense that there's a lot of info dumping right away, where there's a lot more telling than seeing, as you would say. But sometimes people criticize it that it kind of reads as a fanfic or something. However, I am all for fanfics. I love fanfiction, and I don't care about that. So I kept going at it. And it was fun. It was very interesting. It had a lot of expectations in it. The first book, however, had some scenes that were rather hard to digest. But I mean, after that, for the second and third, it was a breeze of air. It was just like, oof. I ate them up. I was like, bam, I need to read the second one. Bam, I need to read the third one. Boo, 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 boo. Quick as heck. I loved it. Amazing. It's the first 3 books is a story following Neil Justin, who is an XA fan and player. XA is a made-up sport between lacrosse and hockey. Like, they play a very violent lacrosse in a box. Like, it's not really glass, is it? Plexiglass. So yeah, he is a boy with a lot of problems. I don't want to spoil right away, but he is a boy with a lot of problems. And has been for a while now a runaway. He's been on the run for a while, and now he gets caught up in this offer of like, do you want to play XC in a college level? And he was like, maybe I shouldn't, but they didn't really give him that much of a choice. He wanted to anyways. Anyway, but they scout him for the Foxes team. And something about the Foxes team is that the Foxes are a bunch of athletes with very effed up past and their own trauma and issues that all came together thanks to one David Wymack, the coach, to have a second chance at life. Amazing concept. They kind of hate each other, so they work through it throughout the series, and it's an amazing book. It's riveting. It has a lot of. It's very funny because you have a very sassy and annoying sometimes main character that really has an attitude problem, but it really makes you, go along with it. You really get caught up in it. And the characters also are very lovable after a while, because the first book, trigger warnings, do mind them, can be very tough. But yeah, this book was like a 5 out of 5. This entire series, I loved it. I do not regret anything. I'm still obsessed with it to this day. And it also has now starting a spin-off series called The Sunshine Court. Well, the first book, I don't know what. It's part of the old For the Game series. The Sunshine Court is about Jean Moreau, which is a side character that is moving teams from the Ravens to the Trojans, and he also knows some of the characters from the other books, of course. But this is his story about his healing journey, because he's also been through a lot, and he needs a break. He needs a break. yeah. But he's doing better in this book. He's, working on it. And it's also such a sweet book. It's sad at times because this is a very pathetic character that deserves the world. But it's also very wholesome in the new characters that we are meeting, in the way that they treat him, and they try to make him comfortable without really knowing how bad his wounds are. And yeah, it's a much nicer read. It also has a future warnings to be careful of. But it's a new story, but frankly still all that comforting, dare I say. Mind you, this is also like 10 years difference, because the first trilogy ended in like 2014 or something, and this one is starting just this year. Like the Sunshine Court was just out earlier this year, but it's overall like a great read. I loved it. What can I say? Let's talk about book number 2. This is probably... I can't have a favorite read of the year because Over the Game series is my current obsession. I am living through it. But this book is it's like they're here. They're head to head with how much I am obsessing over. And this book is called The Lonely Evil, or The Time of Iron series, book 1. Lonely Evil. This book is unserious. This book is so funny. It's hilarious. It's going into it, I knew a bit of how the author had style, because I had read of hers one of my favorite books ever, In Other Lands, which I also recommend, but I'm not going to talk about in detail here. But Long Live Evil is what you would call an isekai novel, which isekai means it's this genre of novels where a character from a modern world is wakes up or is like transported into a fantasy world with like medieval-esque or very, magical rules, right? So this book in particular is about Ray, and she has cancer, and her diagnosis is very bad. Her prognosis is very bad. I don't know much of doctor lingo, so whatever. And she doesn't seem to be getting any better. And one day she has this opportunity. A magical woman just tells her, you can go into this fantasy series of books that you love so much, and if you find this one artifact, you can come back to life and like have a normal life, basically. So she was like, heck yeah, I'm gonna do it. I hate being stuck in here and in pain all the time. So unfortunately, she wakes up in the body of a villainess who is about to be sentenced to death. So she needs to find a way out of that. And the whole book is like very silly. She has multiple plots that go as well as you would expect. I mean, there's even a musical part, like a musical moment. And she has all of these ambitions, let's say, to just be evil and not having to worry about being a hero and like redemption arcs. She's like, believe the worst of me, I don't care. I'm just gonna do me, and I need to save myself and go back to my normal world. But in it, she also recruits other characters that she knows to be allegedly evil, and she even finds another character that is also from the modern world, but from slightly another version of the book that she's in, and he's been there for so long, and they kind of also connect on their modern slang, and they have all of these fun interactions where they're just talking about normal stuff from the real world. And every other fictional character is just like, what the heck are these people talking about? They are crazy. However, because they're both like perceived as villains, everyone's just like, yeah, that's just them. They're just weird when they talk, and that's why they're evil, and nobody understands them anyways. But yeah, it's also like this kind of satirical version of high fantasy, because every place in like rooms and artifacts and even people have these strange titles with like very over the top names. Like there was this I mean, her character, the villainess that she wakes up in, her title is the lady dipped in blood. A legend because she has this one iconic dress that has like red highlights underneath. Anyways, so there's like various of these characters that have just like really insane names just because. And places too, that was like the room of despair in judgment, and all of these like random names, dare I say. And it's still such a fun book because it has a lot of what I would call internet humor, where like pop culture things are mentioned, and I laugh a lot at that. I really find it hilarious, especially when you have like this counterweight character who is so like honorable and such a archetypal kind of hero who's just like, what are you talking about? What is a Britney Spears kind of moment? And but yeah, it's a very fun. It's an amazing read. Like I can't even begin to explain how much I like it. I've been dying over it for like a month now, but the problem is that it hasn't been read by enough people. There's only like a few posts here and there. There's not enough fan art, much less fan fiction to go off from. But it's such a good book, and even I tried like not contacting, but like tweeted and I posted just like comments on Tumblr, and the author actually responded to me a few times, and you know I was very proud of that. I'm gonna show you here what she said to me and what I said about this. However, this is just such a good book, and I love it so much because it's so funny. It was so funny. It was so entertaining. I literally sat down, like I lit up, read it for hours. Like I finished at like 3 a.m. because I couldn't put it down, and the ending was so satisfying. And of course, there's gonna be book 2 and possibly 3. But it wasn't like a big cliffhanger thing, and I'm just like very passionate about it. I just love it so much. Like it's so fucking fun, and I mean, there's so many things that I could tell you about it, but I don't want to make it spoilery. This is so good, and I missed them all so much. But yeah, I mean, if you have a chance to like maybe give it a go. I mean, you could read the Hypnosis on Goodreads or something, and then decide. But if you're kind of a Gen Z, if you understand what a little meow meow is, maybe you should read this book, and maybe you'll like it because God knows I did. It was amazing. But yeah, it was fun, and 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, 100 out of 100. I don't know what kind of 100% Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know. Every possible full review, full qualification system. That was it for me. I want to reread it. I want to erase my brain and reread these books. Like all of them. All 5 of them. Just blank state. Reread them all again and make me feel things. But yeah, I need a second.